Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about manga recommendations. If you're new to manga and you don't really know what to read right now or what to read next, or if you are kind of just in a little bit of a reading slump and you are just so confused as to what you want to be reading next, here are some shoujo manga recommendations. Some of these are my favorites, some are just series that I enjoyed and that I think anybody can enjoy as well. Let's start off strong with this one. Let's start off with Mars. I love this manga series so much. But let me tell you what it's about so you can make up your own mind if you want to read this or not. I personally think you should read this. I personally think anybody and everybody should read this, but I know it's not going to be for everybody, so let me just tell you what it's about. Mars follows the story of Kira Aso, who at the start of the manga is very shy, very introverted. Her classmates find her unapproachable because she is very shy. She almost flinches when anybody tries to talk to her in school or communicate with her. She is a girl that gets lost in her artwork. So she's a drawer, a painter. She is a very creative person, and oftentimes she gets lost in this art of creating in most of her spare time. Then we have the male lead, Rei Kashino, who is the delinquent student. Of course, we have to have one who loves motorbikes, racing. He's a daredevil, but he is also known as a troublemaker and a very difficult student for teachers at school, and also a little bit of a ladies' man, because what delinquent in shoujo isn't ever the ladies' man? So these two meet. Kira and Rei meet one day at the park. Rei asks Kira for directions. She puts these directions on the back of a piece of her artwork. Later on at school, he recognizes her as the girl that drew directions for him. How do you not know this person goes to school with you? But okay. He recognizes her. They have been going to school together for who knows how long at this stage. It's been a while. So Rei begins to become aware of Kira, but mostly at first he finds himself drawn to her art, which he has because it was on the back of the directions that she drew for him. With the bridge as art, they find themselves communicating even more and interacting even more together. So cute. And the story really progresses from there, and it becomes pretty dramatic as well. In its most basic form, and essentially Mars is about two broken teenagers who find healing and strength in each other and their relationship with each other. Now, there are a lot of difficult topics in this series because both characters have to deal with a lot of things. I'm talking about sexual harassment, I'm talking about neglect of parents on both characters' sides. I'm talking about grief and the death of a loved one. There are so many. So if you want to pick this up, make sure that you are aware that this is a very triggering series to a lot of people because there are a lot of really deep, often really nasty topics that are discussed and portrayed in this series. But that's what I love about it so much. It's real, it's vulnerable, it's heartbreaking. But Mars is a manga that I could not put down. I binged this in like 3 days. I loved this series so much. I'm very passionate about it. I was so invested in all of the characters and their deep struggles, trials, and their tribulations. I not only found myself loving and caring for these characters because of their strengths, but also because I think that anybody can relate to these characters and the harsh realities of life that not only these two characters face, but also us as human beings. We face this all the time. Even if it's not ourselves, we we hear about it all the time, and it's also a way for us to be empathetic to these situations if we aren't personally dealing with them. Now, I found not only these two characters to be realistic, but I also found their relationship dynamic to be extremely realistic and also like vaguely familiar. I not only loved the story, but I really loved and adored the art style. And if it's manga that we're talking about, the art style I feel like is an important medium to consider. That's not only the story when we are talking about manga and recommending manga, because the art style in Mars is so beautiful. It is so captivating in not only a way that where the lines are drawn so beautifully and delicately, but also the up close paneling of certain facial expressions or gestures. The author, the mangaka, really knows how to convey expressions and feelings through their art. And as well, you also get a sense of the atmosphere. So the fashion of this, you get to be put in a place and a time. This is roughly, it was made in the 90s, but the art style, the clothing, the fashion that the characters wear is definitely more pinpointed towards the late 70s, early 80s. Mars is complete at 15 volumes, but we have a volume 16 that is a compilation of short stories as well. This is out of print. It's been out of print for a very long time, so hopefully one day, fingers crossed, we do get a reprint, because these are really hard to find, especially in Australia. You can read this digitally though. I believe this is a Kodansha release, so it is available on their website to read in English digitally. Mars was originally published in Japan from 1996 to 2000. If you're like me and you do really love the oldies, the golden manga of that like late 90s, early 2000s period, oh my god, please go and read Mars. It is just stunning, amazing, so heart-wrenching, but it just feels like at the end, you are just so happy for the characters. Shortcake Cake. While this story is a fun and easygoing, often comedic manga in the first, I would say 5 volumes, it quickly turns into something more than just a fun, cute manga. It's more than that. It's a more deep story. Shortcake Cake follows a girl called Ten who is often quirkily drawn to resemble a cat sometimes, which is something that I appreciate about the art style, who finds herself moving into a boarding house so she doesn't have to commute from her little country town to her new high school. She has to get up at like 5 a.m. or something if she wants to commute, and it takes about 2 hours. So with the help of her friend who also lives in this boarding house, she has been convinced that yes, maybe it's a good idea that she does actually move into this boarding house, because she's not only then missing out on her high school life and experiences like after school activities, but she's also not as stressed or tired. So yes, Ten realizes, okay, this is a good idea, and she moves into the boarding house. It's Ten, it's her friend in the boarding house. There is a boarding house manager who is also a really fun and at times a really clever contribution to the story, but just, you know, another character to love. And there are some other people in the boarding house that they're not too important to the overall story. And then we have the 2 male leads in the boarding house as well. We have Chiaki, who is just the most adorable, oblivious cinnamon roll that I have read for such a long time. I haven't read somebody like this in a manga for such a long time, so it's really refreshing. So Chiaki always has a book in his hand and is always staying up late reading. He is just the bookworm. He's obsessed with reading. He will literally not go anywhere without a book. He will be reading a book in school, in the bath, wherever. That's Chiaki. And then we have the cool and mysterious Riku. Early on, we find out that Riku really likes Ten. He finds her cute and adorable. He's attracted to her pretty much instantly, but because he is a ladies' man and he's always communicating with females, Ten doesn't know if he's being serious. If the compliments he gives her and what he says to her is something that is genuinely given or told or expressed. Ten doesn't know if Riku is just being nice, because he's nice to all girls. He says that all girls are beautiful. He says that all girls are cute. So it's hard for Ten to differentiate what his feelings for her are if she is constantly saying the same thing. What's unique about Ten? How can Riku communicate his feelings that Ten is different when he's always communicating and talking to other girls? And then we get almost this secondary storyline where we dive deeper into Riku's family dynamics and his circumstances. Now, I love this story in this. I love that it's fun and funny, but it also has this deeper exploration of family. But I really also love it's wholesome. I love the really wholesome, cute relationship between the two male characters, Riku and Chiaki, because I think it's important that we do express and explore male friendships as well in shoujo, because I think it's really important that females have that perspective as well. So I really, really like that. It's very unique. I also felt myself getting so worked up and invested in Riku's life and his personal circumstances, his struggles. This manga, Shortcake Cake, was so cute and so fun, but I also really appreciated the juxtaposition along with that cuteness and funness of the more deeper, meaningful storyline of this manga, who are all charming and silly and cute especially Riku, despite what he has gone through. Shortcake Cake is essentially about found family and about opening up about our feelings and how that communicating our feelings can change our lives and our connections, our friendships for the better. I'd say this manga is a study in how communication is key, because it is. It reminds me that communication is key. And I hope that this is what a lot of people can get out of this manga, to know that and to teach us that communication in all types of relationships is important. And that is the value of this manga. And all the other cute stuff as well. The mangaka Su Morishita is very well known. She is the mangaka of A Sign of Affection. In Shortcake Cake, this manga, her earlier work, the art style is very unique and very quirky. It is definitely completely different to A Sign of Affection. It is still beautiful to look at, but it's more quirky. But yes, it still incorporates that really like trendy, beautiful manga art style that is it's very prevalent in shoujo, and it's cute to look at. The main characters, especially the male leads, are always handsome and beautiful. Shortcake Cake is complete at 12 volumes. It was first published from 2015 to 2019. I'm glad that you've stayed this long, because you guys, this, if anybody was to ever ask me what my favorite manga was, it is this. This would be in my top 3. I mean, how do you even choose? But instantly, when anybody, like, if I think about anybody ever asking me this is the one that just comes straight to my mind. Top all the time. Top 3, probably number 1. That's how much I love this manga, and nobody talks about it. I have heard nobody talk about this manga. What? So we need to change that. You guys need to read House of the Sun. I just want to squeal every time I talk about this shoujo, because I love it that much. And just like most of the manga that I love so much, it's not just cute. I don't take this manga lightly. And while it's not as, I wouldn't say it's not as dramatic, it's a simple plot with a really hard-hitting, I don't even know. It's hard-hitting to me. Like, it hits me in the feels. It does. It's simple, but it's so influential. It changed my whole life, my whole perspective, and my whole way of thinking about life, living. When I think of this manga, when I think of House of the Sun, I just think of comfort. House of the Sun is about a high school girl called Mao Motomiya. She's a lonely girl that has had a lot of trouble and difficulties within her own family life. She's felt very neglected and very, very lonely in that environment. She often found solace and a place with another family who took her in and just loved her so much. And this family is called the Nakamura family. Every day she spent at the Nakamura's was bright and happy and friendly. It felt comfortable. It was a place where Mao felt a true sense of ease and refuge. Unfortunately, not so much anymore. Because of tragic circumstances, I won't spoil the plot for you, Mao is no longer able to experience this family dynamic with the Nakamuras anymore. So she is once again lonely, neglected within her own family. She has nowhere that she can feel safe and nowhere where she can feel happy. But there is one light, and this light is Hiro. He is the oldest boy of the Nakamura family, who of course has always remembered Mao and has always thought about it. Like, why, how could he not? She was a part almost of his family. Mao was an integral part of Hiro's growing up as well. So he feels like because she isn't there, that his family isn't complete. So he also misses her. Hiro is a very responsible, very caring person. He also knows that Mao isn't having the time of her life. She is sad. He can see this because he runs into her sometimes. So he's aware that, she's probably not the happiest person. What made her happy was his family. So Hiro takes it upon himself to try and reinstill this sense and feeling of belonging somewhere for Mao. So he invites Mao to come and live with him in good faith and with also a sense that Hiro needs to feel like he is needed as well. So this generous extension of Mao coming to live with Hiro is hopefully until Mao can feel accepted within her family, which Hiro always hopes that she can for Mao's sake. Of course, because these two are living together, their relationship dynamic turns into something that is more than just friends. The two grow closer and closer together as, they live together, they communicate together, they have fun together. I feel like I feel like their personalities definitely click with each other. Like that wavelength where it's like some people you just click with instantly. That is what this is. That is true love. It's a little bit of a slice of life, but in the cutest, most heartwarming way, mixed with just like heartache. So just like Shortcake Cake, House of the Sun is very found family and the importance of family. But also in House of the Sun, the most important lesson or the most important theme of this manga is also about the importance and the lesson about happiness. What? Happiness? Yes, happiness. Happiness is the most important part of life. It is. It's more important than social status. It's more important than wealth. It's more important than just things and consumption. And sometimes we lose ourselves in work and life and friendships that don't mean anything to us, that we forget this. It doesn't mean that we have to stay there. It doesn't mean that we have to be cruel to ourselves, and it doesn't mean that we have to be cruel to other people as well. I love Mao and Hiro's relationship because to me it is a mature and responsible one. It is built on love and kindness. It is built on happiness above anything else. Both people's happiness, everybody's happiness above anything else. And that is what love really should be built on. Happiness, making other people happy, making yourself happy. Happiness. I love happiness as a theme. I think of it so fondly, and I wish so deeply that we had an English physical release of it. We don't have any physicals of House of the Sun. We have digitals from Kodansha because they did release digital English translations, but we don't have a physical print, which I'm deeply, deeply saddened every time I look at my manga shelf about, because it would be on there. I would have multiple copies so I could face them outwards so I can look at the cover. That's how much I love this manga. That's how much we need a publication of this, and I hope that you guys really go and read this, not only for me, but because I know so many of you are going to love and adore this one as well. House of the Sun is complete in 13 volumes, so it's not too long, but it's not too short either, so it's something that you can really like binge as well, and was first published from 2010 to 2015. I hope we get an English publication soon. Please, Kodansha. Guys, please go and read this for yourselves as well. Moving on, we're going to talk about Horimiya. So Horimiya is, when I think of House of the Sun, I always think of Horimiya because I feel like they have the same vibe. Even though they don't have the same theme, they kind of feel the same. Is that weird? Yes, if you like Horimiya, I feel like you would really love House of the Sun. But Horimiya, if you haven't read Horimiya, you really need to, because it's really, really amazing. Horimiya is about Kyoko, who is a high school girl who is known as being fun and funny and beautiful and outgoing. Everybody in her school, her classmates, love her. She is just pretty much the it girl. On the other hand, we have the male lead, who is Izumi, who wears glasses, is known as a loner, a bit of a slob, is overlooked and pretty much known as a loser. Like, Nobody notices him. He has long hair, he's scruffy, not attractive, very, very, very overlooked. Yeah, overlooked, I'd say, by his classmates, pretty much everybody in the whole school. But Izumi is more than meets the eye. Don't judge a book by its cover or by its outside appearance, because appearances can change. He isn't actually somebody that looks like he's a slob. He actually looks quite put together and quite attractive. Whoa, what happened? So this story is definitely more of a funny comedy rom-com, definitely more comedy based, and then it slowly develops into a romantic relationship. All of the characters are great, and I just adore the art style of this manga as well. And if you didn't know, Horimiya, the title of this manga is a mashup of both of the main characters' names. This was first published as a webtoon, actually, on the mangaka's or the creators' website, and then it was later published into a manga from 2011 to 2021. This is complete at 16 volumes, but there is an extra 17th special edition volume, so all up 17 volumes. That is Horimiya, and I totally recommend Horimiya. It's so funny, but it's also so cute. This one is definitely a change of pace. So cute, so funny, definitely uplifting. Moving on to the last manga that I'm going to recommend in this video is Say I Love You. Now, Say I Love You, the manga, I don't hear anybody talking about anymore. I remember when the anime came out and people kind of talked about the anime. I really, really loved it, but you didn't really hear anybody talking about the manga, and now you can't really get the volumes. They're not out of print, but I think they're becoming out of print, so they're harder and harder to get, but I never see them on anybody's shelves. I definitely think there is a lot of misinformation about this series out there, especially like on forums like Reddit and things like that. I've read a lot of like bad things, and also things that have been taken out of context for this series. A lot of the information is not correct. Say I Love You is a manga about a very shy and introverted girl called Mei Tachibana. Because of her belief that people often betray each other, she has gone through high school with this belief, so it has led her to not try and even make any friends, let alone have a boyfriend. But later, as most shoujo go, that was weird to say, she encounters the popular handsome boy. And then there are certain events that make these two interact with each other. Very early on, they do get into a relationship and they become a couple. This manga is then about their relationship and how life and often other people can get in the way of your relationship or try and influence your relationship in a way that suits them and their needs. It's also about trying not to dim the lights of somebody who is naturally popular, but it's also about not trying to use that and take somebody else for a ride and take advantage of somebody such as May. These two have very, very, very different personalities, and oftentimes that is where the drama does start, because yes, they think differently, they have different mannerisms, they have different things that they respect, they're different, they're people, they're different people. So Say I Love You, the manga, it is about how two different personalities can come together to create and form a beautiful relationship. But first, before that, and that's what the story is about, how do you do this? This story is about how to set boundaries, when to set boundaries, and when you don't do those things, you get to see the consequences of those in this manga. That's why I think this manga is so important and why a lot of people take this manga out of context. Of course, there are going to be dramas, there are going to be miscommunications, there's going to be things that may upset you as a reader because of these dramas and these miscommunications. This manga does, of course, show you work in a relationship, hard work, and also a lot of hurt, because that happens in relationships in real life as well. Lots of hurt. But also, it lets us know the power of forgiving and forgiveness. In this manga, there are events that could and do seem real to me. They definitely happen in real life. And yes, even the really crappy and the really shitty parts. And why is that? Why do we see them as negatives? Because we can see them happening to ourselves. You can probably see this happening to yourself and it might make you uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable. So of course we go, oh, the male lead is really crappy, he's really shitty, or the female lead, she's really crappy, she's really shitty. And I'm making it out to be really dramatic, but it's not that deep. The male lead is portrayed a lot of the time in Reddit and other threads and forums as being pretty like a bad person, okay? But actually in the manga, he does take responsibility for his actions and he does apologize and they don't happen again. That is boundary setting. That happens in relationships. This manga is a very important one because I find that it actually shows you that not every part of a relationship is sunshine and rainbows. It's important because again, this manga teaches you the importance of communication. Sometimes our partners, like it's shown in this manga, can't read our minds. We aren't aware of what other people think and feel about certain things in the world. What actions might hurt someone, because often people find hurt and disrespect in totally completely different things. So how am I, say, to know that something is going to hurt somebody if that's not communicated or dealt with or gone through? Which happens in this manga. See? Super realistic. So yes, this is the start of a relationship. Boundaries are still being set. So yes, it's going to be dramatic, it's going to be a little bit messy, it's going to be a little bit crappy sometimes, and it's going to be full of drama. Let's remember, these are also teenagers, and as adults we judge this in a different way. So it's unfair for us as adults to place literal judgment on characters that are supposed to be teenagers in high school. And like I said guys, it's not that deep, okay? May also stays shy and introverted pretty much throughout the whole story. Yes, her character does develop, she does come out of her shell a little bit, but she doesn't change her whole personality. The manga stays true to that. She has very minimal facial expressions. She doesn't talk a lot because that's her personality. So some people might find her to be gloomy even at the end of the manga. But I found this so refreshing because oftentimes a person will change their whole character and their whole personality from start to finish in a manga. I really enjoyed this in I Say I Love You because the main character, she didn't change her whole personality. She changed her perspective a little bit and she came out of her shell, but she was still the same person, except a better person. Say I Love You is complete at 17 volumes with a special, I think, short story with an 18th volume. Say I Love You was first published from 2008 to 2017. That's all of my recommendations, my shoujo recommendations for this video. If you guys found this video to be helpful at all, please make sure you leave that down in the comments and I will make another one for more shoujo recommendations. I hope you guys found something to read next. Please read House of the Sun and I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment and of course subscribe so you never miss a video. Bye!